Hello everybody and welcome to Duchess Royale, where I share my opinions and receipts on all things really interesting, but with a focus on major talking points. Some housekeeping first though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell so that you know when the next video is out. So let's just dive in. So as depicted in that opening clip, this sound right here, placed before a Prince Harry and Princess Meghan Netflix production, strikes fear in the royal family, the royal reporters, the right-wing British media and royalist trolls who have just been so very enraged by their deal with Netflix. Now I believe that the outrage has increased tenfold, with their worst fears being realised on hearing that the first release from their deal was imminent, and that it was also to be a docu-series which specifically covers Harry and Meghan's own story. You may have seen the trailer for this released by Netflix on the 1st of December, which gives a 1-minute glimpse of what it might look like. And depending on when this video comes out, you might have actually seen the show, which is appropriately called Harry and Meghan. But with just the trailer alone, the heads of the royalists, those within the royal family and its media team, have literally exploded. So, in this video, I want to look at why. Indeed, this is not intended to be a review of the docu-series, but rather a look at the broader issues of why they are, and why they have been for such a long time, so mad and so fearful about this Netflix deal, and why, in this case, their fears are probably quite valid. So, it was way back in September 2020 that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's deal with Netflix was first announced. So this was 6 months after they had stepped down as working royals, which was earlier in March of that year. And I believe that it's quite possible that at that time, at least one vase was thrown at a wall in Kensington Palace, or even a couple of tables were turned over by a prince totally incandescent with rage. But what are the tears for? Well, to start with, this is what was reported that the deal involves for Harry and Meghan.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to produce scripted and non-scripted shows, films, and even children's programming. In a statement, the couple says in part, "Our focus will be on creating content that informs but also gives hope. We are pleased to work with the team at Netflix, whose unprecedented reach will help us share impactful content that unlocks action."
Isn't it interesting? Since then, I can tell you that rarely a day has gone by over the last 2 years when their deal is not mentioned by Prince Harry and Princess Meghan detractors. While normal, well-adjusted people got on with their daily lives and the well-wishers celebrated their deal and looked forward, obviously, to the content that Prince Harry and Meghan would release in due time, the detractors, on the other hand, were pretty much foaming and frothing at the mouth.
You know, they have been given this deal because of who they are and not what they have proved they can do. To be parachuted into such a big deal, I just don't think is good at all for the creative industry.
Well, she was a bit sour, but let's explore the reason.
Now, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have signed a multi-year deal to produce films and series for Netflix, no less.
It's an understatement to say that news of Prince Harry and Princess Meghan's Netflix deal raised eyebrows among the royals. Articles like this one from Cosmopolitan and other articles like this one actually stated that Prince William in particular was livid. But actually, I think that this also includes Charles. If you've watched my olive branch video, then you'll know that Charles is really concerned with PR and how he looks and how the monarchy looks. So I think he's very much included. In the first article, it specifically states that the royal family were reportedly not happy about this deal. And I take the view that this reporting is probably accurate, as the messages in the right-wing media that work on behalf of the firm have been consistent, and there's been a lot of things that have happened that back up that. Since the trailer has been released, we have had tabloid reports like this from The Express saying, William and King Charles to hold crisis talks over Harry and Meghan's Netflix bombshell, and even threats to them, such as reported in the Mirror here, saying King Charles prepared to strip Harry and Meghan's titles over Netflix and book deal. So it really doesn't sound like they were as cool as cucumbers over it. And if those headlines are not convincing of the sour stance, then here is Roya Nicker, a Roya Rota reporter, recently confirming the order of concern that the royals have about certain productions around the royal family.
I think, the King has had a very good start. It's been a very, emotional, difficult time. But I think, the Crown starts a bumpy period for the royal family over the next few months. Like you say, it will bring back those painful memories of the 90s where Charles was going through a very tricky time with his marriage. Then very soon after that, we're going to have the Netflix documentary from Harry and Meghan. And then we're going to have Harry's book. So I think of all of those three things, they are least worried about the Crown.
So that finally leads us on to the obvious question to ask of the royals and their reporters.
Why are you so scared?
You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Well, if you just let me proceed, Kanye, then I think I've got the answers. Or at least I'll tell you my view on it. And to do that, I want to point back to that Cosmopolitan article. It went on to say that the royal family are concerned that Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan's deal with Netflix will overshadow other royals, and I really do think that this is part of the issue. This overshadowing concern was also reported in OK Magazine, which, as you can see here, says that they were concerns that the deal posed a huge danger in eclipsing the work of the royals. The work of the royals? Huh? Anyway, I digress. You see, they see this, in quotes, really important work that they do potentially being overshadowed, as if they're the only ones in the world or in the UK that is and that can do this important work. It appears that they don't really carry the view that the more people doing good works, then the better. It should be about the work and that the positive impact it makes to others, right? Not about the self-glory. Remember, kids, service is universal, just like Harry and Meghan said. But also, I think this gripe is quite revealing of a very defeatist attitude with the welfare royals. Essentially, it seems like they kind of know that they're competing where they don't compare. Because, love them or hate them, Prince Harry and Princess Meghan have that star quality, which was evident from the beginning of their union as a kind of power royal couple vibe.
See any scenario by which Harry and Meghan overshadow Kate and William?
Yes, I do. I mean, this is immediately was my first thought. This could be a problem because Harry and Meghan are a very compelling couple. They're very charismatic and very relaxed and easy. The cameras will follow them. William and Kate there's much more rigidity to them.
And despite Kate and William trying to step up and adapt so as to appear more Harry and Meghan-esque, minus the personality, by emulating the appearance, clothes, and even the PDA, they still come up short. I think it was quite on point when James O'Brien from LBC said it best here.
The whole point of the attacks upon Prince Harry and his wife, whether they're coming from within the palace, on the record, off the record, nowhere near the record, or whether it's coming from Fleet Street, is because they're simply better at everything. They're better at PR. They're more media savvy, they're more articulate, they're more empathetic. Crucially, they're more accomplished. Look at their careers, compare their careers. They're more accomplished and they're more attractive. So here is the real sin.
So let's take into account Prince Harry and Princess Meghan's important works while in and since they've been out of the royal family. So it ranges from the Invictus Games, Centre Ballet, Princess Meghan's Together cookbook for the Grenfell Tower victims, her work with SmartWorks, their work with the UN, One Young World, Global Citizen, the World Central Kitchen. It's all been highly impressive and have had results that are really impactful. And this is just the short list. But all this has earned them a spot in the Times 100 Most Influential People for 2021. And they are also racking up an impressive bunch of awards, with the most recent being the RFK Human Rights Award given to them this December. Now, you may be surprised to know that William has also won an award. Oh yes, a BAFTA, which was for Best Live Event for his Earthshot Vanity Thing, launched in 2021. This is despite poor ratings, even in a prime time slot given to him by the BBC. And this year there seems to be no change when it comes to the ratings. But ain't that something still? But was that anything to do with the fact that he happened to be president of the BAFTAs, and that his show happened to be nominated even in its first year of being launched, and that he happened to then go on to win a BAFTA for the Earthshot thingy? Now, I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm sure Prince William was probably thinking,
who gonna check me, boo?
Anyway, it's none of my business. I actually believe that William started this Earthshot thing, so late in life, when he realised that he actually needed to keep up with Harry's extensive resume of meaningful work, but also just to give him something to do to kind of look busy. So you can see that the welfare royals like Prince William and Kate Middleton already have a hard job playing catch up and doing it with the same flair as the Sussexes. But one thing is for sure is that the Sussexes having content about their work as part of their Netflix deal will hurt the other royals, the welfare ones. This is because it increases the chances of this work not only overshadowing these welfare royals in the way that they complain it would, but it could also make people question, well, why do we fund these welfare royals in these apparent daily acts of service, such as opening community centres and visiting places to learn about stuff? As you can see here, Kate is an avid learner. Maybe. In comparison to the independently funded royals, that is Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan, they're not even doing it as well. And that is very problematic if the commentators and then the public start to pick up on this and then start to question the true value of their money that is propping up the monarchy and is being sucked up by the monarchy. What they don't want is people expressing this kind of sentiment.
While we struggle to heat our homes, we have to pay for your parade.
Thank you for coming.
The taxpayer pays $100 million for you, and what for?
You see, the welfare royals are afraid of this growing abolish the monarchy movement. Even this ardent right-wing monarchist, James Max, noted that the monarchy is gone when people no longer want them.
He also knows that his job is to maintain the monarchy. The monarchy is only there because we want it there. If there's any stage we don't want it there, it won't be there anymore.
It's the whole succession.
So, this is a big reason to fear this Netflix deal. But there are many more. The release of Harry and Meghan's docu-series confirmed that the welfare royals should be scared. The reason being is because it showed the pulling power of the Sussexes to grab attention away from the Welleses, who had invited themselves to Boston for this Earthshot thing. The Welleses' 3-day tour in Boston was more about, I think, trying to boost their image in the States, of course, to compete with Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan, and to get people worldwide to revere and love the monarchy. Timing is everything, and unfortunately, Netflix chose violence and dropped the trailer on the second day of the Welleses' tour. However, I think it's probably unfair to say they chose violence, because to be honest, the trailer was released a week before the actual show is going to air, so there's only so many days in which they could start the promo. And why would they delay it for some other royals who they have no communication with and are not in their sphere? So here are some more headlines about how just this 59-second video overshadowed Prince William and Kate Middleton and their apparently important work, or rather their learning in Boston. Naturally, there were loads of comments on social media about this, and I thought that these two hit the spot. This one says, if Harry and Meghan's Netflix trailer is overshadowing Prince William and Kate, then it says more about their reach rather than Harry and Meghan. You called them irrelevant, yet a small Netflix trailer is taking your future king's light away from him. And then there's this other one who says, if the limelight can be taken away from William and Kate, then Will and Kate are the problem. The world cannot keep dimming their light every time they want to shine. If someone keeps overshadowing them, then they have nothing to offer to humanity. Bit harsh, but I get what she was saying. And just to highlight how much attention this trailer, just 59 seconds, took, within a day it had nearly 2 million views. And as we speak, I think it's up to about 4 million just in the space of 4 days. But also, you know, there were headlines from even the Daily Mail saying things like this, that it was examining 9 intriguing revelations from the trailer. All of this shows that it all comes down to Prince Harry and Meghan putting out stuff that is more captivating, and just because they're more interesting. They can't help that. And also, again, from the Daily Mail, Andrew Neil wrote about this battle that I believe is in the mind of only Kate and William's head. He headlined his article saying, a battle royal is raging for America, and so far Harry and Meghan are outgunning William and Kate at every turn. I honestly don't think that Harry and Meghan even think about them, and certainly not think about them as competition. But just like those tweets that I read out said, if a short clip of the docu-series can overshadow a grand American trip of the other royals, which also had an apparently glamorous and glitzy award show to tail it off, then the Netflix production from Harry and Meghan is a problem, because the full 6 episodes will surely grab even more attention away from them. So what that reveals is that executives that work for Prince William on his Earthshot thing complained on his behalf about the trailer. To me, it just reeks of desperation. And basically, William called the manager. And it's this kind of behaviour which tells you that they really see this Netflix deal that Harry and Meghan have, and the fact that it's so successful and engaging, as a big, big threat. I think that the greatest thing the royals are scared of is the truth coming out.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I mean, innocent people just don't act like this. The welfare royals are acting like they've got something to be scared of, or they've got something to be guilty about.
Do you still feel controlled by them, the media? Do they still have a hold on you feeling controlled?
No, they're desperately trying to control the narrative, because they know that if they lose it, then the truth will come out.
It's my belief that Harry and Meghan have not even told us, maybe not even 1% of the bad things that happened to them within the monarchy and by the family members against them. But tables are turning, because the control that the royals once had to suppress the Sussexes under that whole you can't speak, you must be silent, you can't complain or explain, is no longer there. And I think that that puts the fear of God into the welfare royals, and that they are on edge, wondering if Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan will finally expose it all and show that the welfare royals are not all sugar and spice and all things nice, like they, as I believe, pretend to be. Okay. And the infamous Oprah Winfrey interview is an example. The royals had no knowledge of what would be said in that interview beforehand, And what did they do? As a preemptive strike, they released to the world that they would be launching a bullying allegation against Princess Meghan during her short time in the royal family, and an allegation which apparently was like 2 years old. Now, the investigation eventually magically remained private and essentially was kicked into the long grass. Another example of the royals losing their mind when they couldn't control the narrative and showing that this is their biggest fear was in autumn 2020. This was when, around November, this was when the BBC decided to do a documentary where they advised the royal reporters that we know work for the royals to talk about the Sussexes. It was a documentary that ended up being called The Prince and the Press. And unbeknown to the royal reporters, it ended up highlighting how generally the Sussexes were being briefed against by their family. Now, it wasn't until the documentary came out that the royal reporters realised that they had said things in the documentary that actually were favourable to the Sussexes.
I think at the best of times, the palace is a nest of vipers.
One prince is choosing to play the game with Britain's media.
Editors from various newspapers have been invited in to meet him.
They didn't like that, and that is another story to tell. But as you can see from some of these headlines, you can see that some of them complained once they realised it was Sussex friendly. But the point that I'm making here is that there are hundreds of documentaries about the royals with commentary from royal reporters that often drip their poison into it to paint Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan in a bad light. This documentary was probably more balanced than most others, and the royal reporters went ape. Gone were the "we don't complain or explain" mantra, because apparently it affected the reputation of William and Kate. So here is the Express reporting that the royal family were up in arms. It says here, royal family fury over BBC documentary as firm blasts overblown and unfounded claims. They further wrote that the BBC, as rebuked last night in an extraordinary royal family intervention after it broadcast a controversial film about Prince Harry and William. It went on to say that the palace of the Queen, William and Kate and Charles took rare steps to issue a joint statement on it. In the statement, they claimed that they were upset about these overblown and unfounded claims from unnamed sources presented as fact, and that it's disappointing when anyone, including the BBC, gives them credibility. The audacity, gall and gumption of this family to talk about unnamed sources being a bad thing which has affected them when, I don't know, where is Will Smith when you need him? They remained silent while the press trashed Meghan for years, making heinous claims against her, assassinating her character based on these anonymous sources when she first joined the family and thereafter. They got one documentary, just one out of thousands, that put them in a slightly bad light, and it was carnage all over the place. Full on Karen mode. It's quite unbelievable. So if they can act like that about not getting their way then, you can imagine how much fear and anger they have about Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan putting out a 6-part documentary which cuts them out. Cuts out their royal reporters and cuts out the false narratives that those royal reporters put forward on behalf of the welfare royals. You can often hear royalists and the royal reporters complaining about Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan not being private or speaking out too much instead of just remaining silenced. All of that is about this desire to deplatform them. If the Sussexes do not have a platform, if they are inactive and hidden away, then they cannot shine and they cannot defend themselves against disturbing and false narratives created in order to suppress them, to demonise them, and to then uplift the welfare royals. This is why the Netflix deal is a major, major problem, because it is, a major platform. I say this because it has a subscriber base of over 225 million people. So just to go back to social media again, I saw this tweet that said this: I love the way Harry and Meghan's platforms overshadow the others every time, like every single time. You see, the deal with Netflix is incredibly significant for this, and is exactly why the royal family, their media goons and sycophantic royalists are not happy about this. Not only does this alternative platform from Harry and Meghan have a reach far beyond the shores of Salty Island, that's England by the way, but it will also speak to the demographic that the welfare royals have been trying so desperately and struggling to capture. That's the millennials and Gen Z. This platform not only comes with visual media upon which they can tell their story and help us to get to know them. Now that's what, when I say that, I mean the real them, not the them that the media and the trolls paint. I think it will help to rehumanize them and fight back against the narrative created by the British media via the royal family briefings, which have been set out to destroy them and to put them in their place. So it will give people the opportunity to hear their side of the story and make their own minds up. But the power of a visual, such as from a docu-series, really should not be underestimated. Meghan's recent Variety interview that took place in October gone included a 4-minute video of her here.
Mom, I'm like sitting around with friends and I start singing like, Tyrannosaurus, that's the chorus, Tyrannosaurus. I was like, what am I singing? Oh my gosh, I'm singing Storybox. I'm singing Storybox. I am not singing Beyonce in that moment. I'm singing Storybots.
Tyrannosaurus, that's the
chorus, Tyrannosaurus.
So you can see just a clip of it there, showed her being funny, nerdy, fashionable, and just showed her human side. This is the side that the royal reporters don't write about. They don't want people to know it exists. And I can tell you that this 4-minute video that was released gave the haters heart palpitations for chipping away at the British tabloid built image of her. So imagine way beyond 4 minutes. We're talking about 6 hours for a docu-series. Now, unfortunately for the royal family, Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan's deal with Netflix would feel like a punch in the windpipe to the royal family and the institution at large. The vengeful visions of Duchess Meghan taking orders through the drive-through McDonald's intercom while Prince Harry mopped floors in the kitchen somewhere in California slowly disintegrated. The Netflix threat mainly comes down to Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan having a platform which may leave the welfare royals exposed in more ways than one, revealing ugly truths about them and chipping away at that fairy tale and the supposed superiority. So that's all for me for this video. I hope you liked it. I'd love to know your thoughts. Please do comment in the comment section below. But for now, that's it for me. Peace and I'm out.